All righty. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Gonna do mic check. Dang it, forgot to do the thing I'm supposed to do. Well, what's going on, y'all? Good morning. Happy Friday. We made it. Friday. Today's Friday. Feel free to use that moving forward. It's great to see y'all this morning. Hanging out with me, myself, and I. Again, Fridays are just myself hanging out, talking about all things job search related. So stoked to hang out with you all today. Dev is on it this morning. What's up, dude? It's good to see you, man. Dev, did you schedule a time to come on show with me yet? I can't remember if you did. I hope you did. I want to interview you. So schedule time. But good morning, y'all. Welcome. It is Friday. Hopefully it is sunny where you're at. The sun is finally out this week in Nashville. We are almost up to 60 degrees after 0 degrees and 7 days of snow. So very excited for the weather right now. Excited to be with y'all this morning and to talk about just a topic of just how to do better in interviews, right? So again, for me, this Friday episode is a very tactical, practical to do things that you can take away for the job search. And so that is what my goal is this morning, every single Friday. So I have guests Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday is Unicorn Finders, and Friday is just me, myself, and I. So very excited to hang out with you all today. Comment, say hey. Would love to hear from you. Please say hey. Let me know where you're tuned in from. Again, the reason why I tell people that is this is a networking platform, right? That's what it is. This is a meetup. This is a online meetup that happens every single day at 9:30 a.m. Central. If I were you, I would show up. Comment, even if you're just passing through, comment, just say, hey, drop a favorite emoji. I don't care. Just do something, because I will tell you this, the amount of people that have found contacts, friends, apprenticeships, internships, jobs. I had one person find a job on this show because of it. A CTO was on here, and he engaged with somebody on the show, and a few interviews later and a few conversations later, and a role opened up, and that person got a job from this show. So again, the reason why I tell people to comment is to bring visibility to yourself, right? If you are scrolling this, and honestly, if I were you, I would comment on every single live show, whether you watch it or not, because it brings visibility to who you are. So if you need to slide into the DMs of that one person someday, and you've consistently commented on their live, then they're going to know who you are, and they're going to respond to you better or quicker, right? So again, do that, please. So again, ask questions. I'm going to dive into interviewing, how to interview here very, very soon. So ask questions. I want to give a shout out to two of my partners this morning. First and foremost, That Conference. See a few of y'all, Dominic, on the chat. That conference was in Austin this past week. It was amazing. Next conference, Call for Speakers is open. On that.us, go check them out for the Wisconsin one. If you want some bag of beans, go buy some bag of beans. It's really good. I had some at the conference. They are a great batch of beans, Clark. Next, I want to give a shout out to the Premier, Platinum, Gold, whatever sponsor you want to say, Render ATL. If you have not been to Render ATL, highly recommend checking it out. From June 12th through 14th, go check it out. Think like Coachella, South by Southwest, but in Atlanta. It's going to be just an absolute heck of a time. Cannot wait to be there. Hope to see you there. Go buy your tickets. If you need a few bucks off, I believe we have the codes GC 2.0 set up. But if it's not set up, just let me know and I'll fix that. Also, to listen. So for those of you who, I'm going to stop the music here. For those of you who watch, I don't know if you guys watch Travis and Jason Kelce, but they do the 92 percenters, right? Their podcast that they do, Travis and Jason Kelce, which is awesome. They call it the 92 percenters. I don't know why, but I was thinking we should call ourselves the 2.0ers. I don't know. Does that work? The 2.0ers? Because guidance counselor 2.0, the 2.0ers. I don't know. It sounds a little weird, but I think it become a thing. Like y'all the 2.0ers. I don't know. May need some work on that. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts if you like it or not. All right, give a few shouts to people tuning in again. Dev, it's good to see you. Good. I'm glad you got scheduled for 2:13. Brian, it's good to see you. Anton, it's great to see you. Juan, what's up, man? Hey, I love it. Discovered you. Exactly. I love it. Love it. Awesome. Fantastic. Dominic, it's good to see you. Ryan, Thomas, it's good to see you. It's great to see you in Austin, man. Dominic, dude, I hope you're doing well. I am also tired. So much FOMO. Yeah, dude, Dev, it was a blast. I would highly recommend Clerk to get involved at that conference. in Wisconsin. It's going to be a big one. The Wisconsin one's huge. I keynoted last year, like 600-700 people. Brandon, what's going on? Happy Friday. Yeah, definitely always open and connecting. Yeah, always connect. Always connect. Let's see your thoughts on bringing donuts to the in-person interview. Listen, we'll get there. We'll get to some tactics there. I don't think it's a bad tactic by any means. Let's see here. I love it. I can see it becoming a thing. The 2.0ers. Do we like the 2.0ers? I'm curious. I wish we had interactive polls. All right, let's dive in because some people probably watching like, what the heck is this dude rambling about? How to ace an interview. Now, I said how to ace an interview. At the end of the day, I don't think you can ever ace an interview because as an interview is very subjective and you're never going to be able to do it 100% well. However, I want to give you some tips and tricks on how to do better for your next interview. First off, here's some basic things. You're probably like, yeah, Taylor, no kidding. No kidding. But a lot of y'all miss out. First off, research the company, right? Research the company. Know what the company does, right? It's pretty simple. Know what the company does, please. Like if I ask you if you're interviewing for Gun.io and I'm asking, hey, what does Gun.io do? And you're like, I don't really know. I'm like, well, then why the hell are we interviewing? Right. So again, make sure you do that. Also, another thing too, I say this all the time. Please make sure you have your resume printed out, a pen and paper. Right now, you're probably like, Taylor, you're talking about some old school stuff right now, right? Like I don't use pen and paper. I just use Apple Notes or Google Notes, whatever. Listen to me. I've talked to so many hiring managers about this. If you are on a Zoom call and you are typing and you're like this, typing while someone's talking to you, it's incredibly distracting. And I've asked this to a bunch of engineering managers and they've all agreed with me. But I'm trying to find my notebook. I can't find my notebook. But here's one notebook. It's not my notebook though. But let's say I'm like, I have my notebook out and I'm writing something down here. That's less distracting, right? That's less distracting. So basically all that being said, like have something in front of you because it's going to be less distracting for the hiring manager if you're not typing off screen. Another thing that I would do as well that a lot of people don't talk about is you can type this up, you can write this out. But for me, I think have some clear defined pointers that you really want to get across for the interview as it relates to the role, right? So for me, when I was interviewing at Gun.io, I basically was like, all right, what does Gun.io need, right? So the first interview I had, I was like, well, what's y'all's problems? Like where are y'all lacking in the business, right? So they said, well, we were lacking. We don't have any content. We don't really have any we don't have a social media arm. We've never done community. We've never done conferences. And we're also looking to hire a salesperson. I said, okay, great. So then what did I do is in the next interview, I basically wrote down very specific things that I wanted to highlight about my background, right? So for me, social media, I garner probably 2 to 3 million impressions a month across all platforms. I have a close to 1,000-person email newsletter. I have a Discord, yada, yada. I've driven $2 million in sales at my last company. And I go to conferences. I'm a speaker. I'm a keynoter. And I have a Discord community of like 700 people. So for me, like that right there, I was prepared to go into the interview because I knew their problems, right? Know a company's problems and why they're hiring this person. And I think that's a great conversation on the first interview. But like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Manager, why y'all hiring this, right? Why are you hiring this person? Did somebody like not have the skills and they got fired? Have you never had this person? Like what, like figure out the problem on the first round, but also too, you can still have notes as it relates to the job description, right? You can still have notes, the main things that you have done as it relates to the job description. Want to break for a few questions here. I want to do thoughts on bringing donuts to an in-person interview. So I'm a fan of maybe bringing something to the in-person interview, maybe not donuts, right? So like if you interview with me, Emmett, and let's say you're interviewing at GUM and we're going to do an in-person interview and we talked about some passion stuff and everybody knows I'm a freak for good coffee, not Starbucks, not Dunkin', good local small batch coffee. Emmett, if you texted me or emailed me before the interview, like, hey, Taylor, I'm stopping to get coffee. Do you want anything? And you happen to pick out my favorite place, that is going to go a long way, right? I'm not saying you should bring donuts to every interview just to bring donuts. I don't know if that's going to move the needle. What moves the needle is figuring out what a person likes and then bringing that to the interview, if that makes sense. So hopefully it answers your question. What else here? Chris, it's good to see you. I'm here for donuts, aren't we all? Also, by the way, side note, cake donuts are better than the yeast donuts. I'm gonna hot take here. Hot take. I think like traditional, I don't think Krispy Kreme traditional donuts are hot trash. I just think cake donuts are elite. There's no question there. Let's see here. Thomas goes, I think something you and I talked about the other day, like devs just naturally don't know how to quantify. Yeah. So Thomas and I hung out at a little coffee meetup. We had about 3 people there, 3 plus me. And we were just talking about, just catching up. And Thomas really brought up a great, he said he got this from my previous content, but really quantifying what you've done. Now, Thomas said, Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, but Thomas had to reach out to marketing. Thomas was like, hey, listen, how many users are we supporting with this, what I'm writing? Or what's our visibility? Thomas had to do some research, but he said that really helped him land another interview because his resume was very quantifiable, right? So again, this is going into an interview. And listen, we have dealt with one client recently, last 2 months. We're finally just now getting offers with this one client, but it's been 2 months of really working with them to figure out interview processes and fine-tuning. But one of the most consistent themes I'm seeing is that even senior principal engineers cannot talk in detail about what they have done. Not only quantify it, but if you have CI/CD on your resume and I tell you what have you done within the CI/CD space, most people can't answer things like that. So my advice to you all is coming into an interview, know what you're about to get into, know the type of role you're interviewing for, prep yourself with a few pointers that you want to bring into the interview, but then also really know your background and be able to speak to it. Whether it's, hey, this feature I wrote supports over 1 million users, or this environment, this platform I helped develop has, 1 million transactions a minute. Something like that, quantifiable. And if you have to go out and listen, no one's going to fact check you. And I'm not talking about lying on your resume by any means, but if you give a ballpark answer, let's say you said it's 1 million transactions, but it's really 700,000 transactions, right? That's not enough to get you fired or lie on your resume. That's just what you know. And then in hindsight, it was a little less, right? It's not a big deal, but be quantifiable, please. Valerie, thoughts on having links and projects pulled up, ready to send over? So it depends where you're at in the interview. I would have that ready for sure. Absolutely. Please make sure you have projects ready to go, but also try to have projects that are applicable to what you're interviewing for, right? If you're interviewing for a front-end Angular role and then you're like, well, I got this Python project I'm working on. It's doesn't quite line up, right? Let's see here. Also, yeah, Anton, I also asked them. Yeah, I think that's great. Hey, I would tell the hiring manager, Mr. Manager, I have a pen and paper right here. I'm going to write some notes down if that's okay. 10 out of 10 hiring managers are gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. Thank you for giving me a heads up. Let's see here. A lot easier to cook with a recipe than putting it together. Yeah, 100%. Love that. Let's see here. What else we got here? Cake donuts, truly superior. Absolutely. That's correct. Reaching out to different stakeholders, right? So Thomas, again, props to you for that. And what do you have done as an individual? Yeah. So this is big. So this goes to, again, being very explicit on what you've specifically done. A lot of people put their accomplishments on their resume that was done by a group, not with them, right? Listen, I know hiring managers that will pick out a random term on your resume and ask you what you've done just to see if you're lying, or not even lying, just putting fluff on your resume. So again, when it comes, this is resume writing. We'll do another live next week, maybe about resume writing specifically. This is why you do not put fluff on your resume. Put the things that you have done, but expound on the things you have done as well. Listening to leadership calls helps with that too. Yeah, Ryan's probably referring to learning the impact of the type of app/platform you're writing, which is 100%. The old interview, aka conversation between two liars. Jamie, that is really funny. And then donuts, I'd hire and promote you. There you go. All right, so we got so to recap what we've done so far, we've pen and paper and printed out resume in front of you. We have written down and or typed your sizzle, which is basically 3 to 4 bullet points of key things that you want to get across as it relates to the interview that you're about to go into. You have researched the people you are interviewing and also the company. Now, researching the people, not a lot of people do this, and I don't know why. You can get a lot of really good information out of someone's LinkedIn potentially, and use it to turn the interview into a conversation, right? The whole point, the whole focus for you should be taking an interview and make it a conversation. And the way you do that is to find similarities between two people, you and the other person or a group of people, right? I'll never forget back when I was at my last company, my very first hire of the new division that I started. This individual, he went through my LinkedIn and was like, hey, I saw you went to South Carolina. I went to UGA. Ha ha ha. SEC, we beat you. And like immediately, I was like, you know what? Like that's great. Let's really talk about let's really talk about SEC football. So we started talking about SEC football. And then the entire tone of the conversation changed, and then I hired him, right? I mean, I didn't hire him because of that, but again, right? I got the tone changed. It was very conversational. It was great. So definitely do that. Let's see here. When it comes to, so we got that. Also, another thing too, when it comes to when you're in the interview, again, I'm gonna say this. When it comes to the interview, sorry, I'm collecting my thoughts here. When it comes to the interview, you need to be able to, I've completely lost my train of thought, y'all. This has never happened for me before. Too much going on around me. Say, I don't know. There we go. I don't know. Say, I don't know. It's not hard. It's not, just say, I don't know. Also, too, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. Right. So many people just try to like push their way. Listen, I've interviewed hundreds, if not thousands of people at this point in my career. I can tell you, I know when you're trying to lie to me or just push through a question. So can the other person. So let's just not even try. Just be like, hey, Mr. Mrs. Manager, listen, I'm not quite following. I don't know. Can you like rephrase it? Because here's the deal. Keep the conversation going, right? So many of us get in the interview and are like, I don't know. And then you just don't keep the conversation going. Keep the conversation going. Say, hey, I don't know, but here, this sounds like something I've done. Let me explain this. And if the interviewer goes, no, that's not really right, be like, okay, well, then I haven't done it, but I just wanted to kind of guide you down a path. Because here's the deal. Hiring managers want to know, one, you can tell them that they don't know, right? And then also that you can push back. Right? Like I've had multiple people during interviews have pushed back nicely and have actually gotten to the next round because that's what the company wanted, right? Companies want individuals who can speak up and be confident in their answers and be kind in their answers, but then also say, I don't know. Right? Like that's the key right there, folks. Keep the conversations going. Don't say no. Jason comes in here. If you can't answer something, don't make crap up. Just say you don't know. Yeah, absolutely. And just say how you figured it out. Because like if you don't know the type of technology or something they say, be like, hey, listen, I'm not quite following. Can you expound on this a little bit more? Like all this stuff, like expound on it. Can you use, how they use the spelling bee? Can you use it in the sentence? Right? Like get them to expound. Keep talking. Yeah, no one-word answers, please. No one-word answers, please. For me, like it's not yes, no, maybe. Like it's so awkward, right? Just say, hey, no, I have not used this, but I know what you're talking about. I've researched it. Like, again, keep the conversation going. Let's see here. And again, if you haven't done it, what do you know about it or express willingness to learn? Yeah. Again, companies want people who are bought in, dialed in, like that just, I think the art of conversation is lost. I just really do believe. And the interviewer, like for me, like wants conversation, right? People want to work with other people that can converse, right? You're not going to go on a date with a person who can't talk, right? You may be married right now and looking at your significant other next to you right now watching this live and be like, well, that's you. That's another problem, right? But for the most part, people want to work with people who are fun, who are nice, can converse, who can, a little banter, yada, yada, yada. So all that being said, like those are kind of my big tips for interviewing. What else is there? I would send a thank you LinkedIn note right after the interview, right? So let's say you interview with me. We had a great conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn afterwards. Send me a note in the connection. Remember, send a note in the connection. Say, hey, Taylor, it's great chatting with you. I loved our conversation, especially around X. Always mention something in the interview that really resonated with you. That means I know you were paying attention and like you're engaged. And then that's it. I think that's a great tactic as well. When it also comes to interviewing, like, listen, it's nerve-wracking, right? And I can say that confidently because I went through interviews last July when I left the company, the one company I was at for my entire career for 12 years, right? And so for me, I know it's nerve-wracking. I will tell you this. Try to get outside if it's sunny or the weather's nice right before the interview, like 30 minutes before the interview. Cause like even talking about it right now, like I can feel my nerves a little bit, like even putting myself back in the interview seat. I think one thing I would do more now if I were to interview again is take more time before the interview to get outside and walk and clear my mind. Because what happens is I feel like our nerves take over and we black out. Does anybody else black out? I black out sometimes, right? I'm actually in counseling for trying to not black out, especially during stressful situations, right? And so for me, I don't know about you, but blacking out is something I've dealt with, aka you don't know what you say, you kind of go through it, then you're done, you're like, holy cow, what happens? And so one of the things is grounding yourself outside. This is a little health and fitnessy, I understand it, but like go outside, especially if you're in warmer climate, like bare feet on the ground. It'll make you feel better and it'll calm your mind. Because what happens is I feel like we get in the interview, we sit in front of our computer and like we're sitting in front of our computer for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour beforehand prepping, and then like all your tension and all of the anxiety kind of comes up. And like then you go into the interview and I feel like it just all like spews out, right? It's like wow, it's like whoa, right? And then you're a mess and you get nervous and it's just all over the place. So my advice to you, get outside, take some deep breaths, and try to get away from your computer before the interview. What else? Some other interview tips as well. Let's see here. I want to see if anybody else is tuned in here. Yeah, another, and if you haven't done it about Wellness Learn, I don't know how to do it, but I can research it 100%. Anton comes in. I've asked is similar to insert thing in this other technology because I've done that before. Yeah, again, right? Yeah, I love that. So Anton, he's asked, is this similar to this and another technology? Because I've done that before. I love that, right? Hey, I haven't done Angular, but I have done, or I don't know. I don't know enough about those, so I'm not even gonna try to make that up. But yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? Like I haven't used this, but I've used this instead. Let me explain a little bit more, right? Let's see here. Cool. All right. What else? I had another thought or two about the interview on how to ace your first interviews. Anybody else have any tips or tricks? Please throw them up. I want to share them with everybody. I think that's it. I really think that's it, right? And here's the deal. Oh, also a few more things. One, create a Google Doc. Create a Google Doc. That's a journal. So after every single interview you have, you write down what went well, what didn't go well. Basically, you journal, right? I'm big on journaling now. Journaling is something I took on at the beginning of the year. It's helped me a ton. But create a study guide, right? So if you have the interview, like here's the things that went well. I was very calm. I went outside. I asked good questions. Like focus on the positives, right? Because I feel like a lot of times in interviews, we got interviews like, well, I sucked, right? And it really wasn't that bad. So positive, like write things down that you did really well. Then say things to improve on, right? And then bullet point it out, right? I could have improved on, I messed up on the question around Kafka, or I messed up on the question around data structures or variables, or I don't know. Again, I'm just making stuff up at this point. But so what you've done well, what you didn't do well, and then what happens is that what what you didn't do well starts to become a study guide. So the next interview you go into, you can say, okay, all right, I need to probably research on these things. Here are some tips. And then you continually interview, and then you continue to have this ongoing study guide and brain dump of a document that's going to allow you to process things and move through the interview better. I really love that tip. I think everybody should do that. What else? Interviewing. I'm trying to think here. Set up Google alerts. I love that. Love this idea, Ryan. Set up Google alerts to get recent news about the company. Love that. So if you are interviewing and this company just had a huge Series B, like you can bring up like, hey guys, congrats. I saw on New York Times that you guys had a Series B. That's fantastic, right? I love that, Ryan. Again, focus on making it a conversation as much as humanly possible. I also want to give you confidence here too for a second. Listen, if somebody asked to interview you in this climate, it means you are good. Now, does it mean you're going to get the job? No, but it means you're good, right? Have the confidence that you should be there, right? Like even the first round, if they chose you, they like you, right? You got to remember something here. Companies hate interviewing as much as you hate interviewing. Now, I know it doesn't seem that way all the time, but companies hate the interview process, right? This one company I'm working with that's hiring 15 .NET roles right now, they're underwater. They want to get people hired, right? And so they don't want somebody to like they want people to be comfortable because they want to hire you, right? So again, it's a mindset shift, right? If you are interviewing somebody, you really need to be like, all right, here's the deal. They want me. They obviously have confidence in me. I need to relax because if they're talking to me, that means I have a chance, right? Now, again, you may not get the job and it happens, right? But again, have the confidence. They are talking to you. They are interested in you. They want you. Relax a little bit. Also, another thing too, companies are looking for reasons to reject people right now. I don't like it. I don't. I get it. But like if you misspell somebody's name or if you I don't know, have a bunch of, misspellings in your emails or, you know, your presentation doesn't look good, in terms of Zoom, like everything docks you, right? So again, be prepared, have a good background. Also, too, listen, I'm going to say this as well. I'm going to say this as well. Be aware of what is on your computer when you screen share. Let me say that again. When you screen share for a coding or design interview and you have to screen share your computer, make sure there is nothing on your desktop that is awkward for an interviewer on the other side. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Just be aware. All right. Just be aware, folks. Let's see here. Jesse comes in here. What's up, my guy? Scary one to ask, but always a good ask if they were any concerns. Yeah. I love that. Jesse, I think I'm gonna push back. I love it. So Jesse and I work together a ton at Gun. Jesse, I like this. I think this also could make some people weirded out, you know, maybe, but definitely the recruiter. Definitely the recruiter. If you're working with a middleman or middle woman, like an internal recruiter or an agency recruiter, basically just just say, hey, because I would say, Jesse, I wouldn't ask this on the interview because people aren't going to tell you. They're just not. Like if you interview with me and you bomb interview with me and you're like, was I okay? I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you on the call that you sucked right now. What I would do though, is I would ask the recruiter to go get information for you, right? Because the hiring manager is going to be a little bit more comfortable giving feedback to a third party like the recruiter share with you. Yes, no professional stuff, right? That's right, Jesse. Show enthusiasm, another big thing. Be excited. Companies want people to work for them that are excited about the company. If you are interviewing for a finance company, you're not really excited about finance. Like there are maybe probably other people who like got their financial degree and like wants to work for a fintech company. So I think showing excitement, I talked to Dominic about this. He was on the chat, like interviewing. He loves being outside and the environment and all that stuff. I was like, well, go research a bunch of environmental focused companies and startups and just interview with them because you're passionate about it and you hike and you're outside all the time. They're going to want to hire you because they want people who are passionate about their business, right? So again, show enthusiasm. Good one. I closed windows before I shared with you earlier. It wasn't even bad, just good practice. Yeah, Jason, I had a call earlier. Yeah, just when if there is any chance a screen share could happen and you don't even could have anything bad, you don't want to like be like Christmas shopping and like have to share your screen and it would be like, you know what I'm saying? It's just weird. So just make sure you close all of your tabs. All right, Richie, what's up, buddy? Cool. Richie, I'm wrapping up here. Do you got any interview tips, big dog? Richie, you got anything? Any interview tips? As I'm wrapping up, Richie, give me your best interview tip. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for today. I appreciate it. That is it. I want to give you a shout out. I want to give you an announcement. Gun.io. We opened up our platform. If you are a developer, even if you're not looking for a job, I would just go sign up on our platform because we do a lot of part-time, we do a lot of freelance, and we obviously do full-time work too. If you are fit for something, we'll reach out to you. So literally, if you're a developer over 5 years of experience or so, I would just go and just submit your information. Just sign up, just get in our system, all that stuff. Yes, yeah, keep your kids out of the room and pets. I know, I think I posted a GIF or a meme about that last week. Have a quiet space, y'all. Have a quiet space because even during this live, I got distracted and I lost my train of thought because I had text and Slacks coming in and I got distracted. I lost my train of thought. Right. And I do this for a living. So I can kind of get back on it. A lot of y'all can't. Right. So make sure all of your notifications are quiet, all that stuff. Eric, absolutely cool. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday. If you need anything, holler. Go sign up at Gun.io. Go check out Render. It's going to be a blast. Share this if this resonated with you and let other people see it. Otherwise, I appreciate you. We'll see y'all. Oh, next week, got a hell of a week coming up with guests. Becca off of Open Sauce. She's coming on the show Monday. We have Dan Mall, Render ATL speaker, coming on Tuesday. And then my guy, Joe Prevet, coming back on the show talking about his latest job search. Very excited about that. So again, oh yes, another good one. Anton, check your camera and your mic. Make sure it's working. It's clear, yada, yada, yada. So y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all. The 2.0ers, not 2.0ers, 2.0ers or 2.0ers. I think 2.0ers makes more sense. 2.0ers. Y'all have a great Friday. We'll see you. Peace.